All right, here's the Giants lineup. Giants come in having won 7 straight, 24-18, and it'll be Blanco, Panic, and Pagan. Brandon Belt in the cleanup spot. Check out what he's done the last 4 road games. 4 home runs in that stretch. Pence, Crawford, and Duffy. Susak will catch it at 8th, and Heston will hit 9th.
On the hill today for the Colorado Rockies will be the right-hander, Jordan Lyles. Lyles 6'4", 230-pounder. He's a big guy. 24 years of age, and he's a hard thrower in his 4th year at the big league level. You're going to see some mid-90s fastballs, and he'll throw a lot of fastballs. He's got a curveball and a slider. He'll throw more curves than sliders and a changeup. But the one pitch that I think he feels most confident in is that fastball. This will be his 9th start. Rockies so far this year in his starts have gone 2-6. Let's take a look at the defense that the Rockies will employ today behind Jordan Lyles. From the outfield, across the field from left to right, it'll be Paulson, Blackman, and Gonzalez. Gonzalez with the strongest arm. Blackman tied for the lead for assists as an outfielder in the National League with 5. Tulowitzki and Arenado will be on the left side of the infield. LeMahieu and Rosario will be on the right side. And Nick Hundley, he'll be in the squad putting down the signs. Take a look at how Lyles likes to use his pitches. Fastball 62% of the time, as we said, he likes it a lot. And then he'll throw the cutter, which really is his best pitch. If you look at how opponents have hit it, they bat just 194 against that cutter, and then he'll throw the splitter and the curveball. And but it's definitely a power arm. You're going to see some really quality fastballs, velocity-wise.
So here's Gregor Blanco. And the first pitch of the ball game is on its way, and it's a called strike. So we get started at 4:25 here in Denver. That's right when they said we'd get started, about an hour ago. Blanco swings and misses. It's 0-2.
That's a good changeup. Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, is behind the plate today, and dead low ball umpire. And you know, he'll give pitches early in the count. Doesn't always like to ring guys up. You'll see bigger zone early in the count and tightens up as the count wears on.
Blanco swings and misses. Ball gets away from Hundley, and Hundley is going to throw it down the right field line. Blanco on the move. He's not going to stop. And that's how this game gets started. Unbelievable. I wonder if Hundley picked up a wet ball.
Now you're talking about one of the more accurate throwers behind the plate in the National League, Nick Hundley. He just doesn't make throwing errors, and you may have a point. He never really found it, and it was going to be, you know, a 2-3. He was going to be out by 30 feet, and all of a sudden, Hundley comes up with a rare throwing error. Just like that, the Giants get a runner at third base for absolutely free.
So here's Panic. Panic hitting at 291. And he fouls this one back and out of play. Panic went 2 for 5 last night. 2 home runs, 12 driven in, with Angel Pagan on deck. Panic shoots this one. Arenado's got the soft line drive. One off. And that'll bring up Angel Pagan.
One thing you don't see very often, and that's Joe Panic getting jammed. And Lyles got that ball in on him nicely.
Here's Pagan. Pagan last night, 1 for 4. Scored a run, knocked one in, drew a walk. Pretty good numbers lifetime against Lyles. In 8 at bats, he's got 4 hits, with Galt to follow. And the pitch is low, 1 ball and no strike.
First pitch changeup. Rockies infield in the middle, they're giving the run. They're just trying to stay out of the crooked number. normally we see teams do this early in a game, but certainly here in Colorado, where you see so many crooked numbers go up on the board.
This is not going to do it. 2 outs. So Panic, soft line drive, Pagan pop up, and that'll bring to the plate Belt. Belt hitting at .317, 4 home runs, 16 driven in. Belt hit the long home run last night. He went 3 for 5, a double, a home run, 2 runs knocked in. Overshift is on, and Belt swings and misses, and it's 0-1.
And he was late. That's a little cut fastball. See the shift that the Rockies are putting on. They're really exaggerating the pull side of second to first base. I mean, it's a dramatic shift.
High to Belt. Belt hit a ball that hit Paul Nauert that was really right close to the shortstop position. And of course he was credited with a hit, but he also would have had an RBI if it hadn't hit Nauert.
He said the ball speed coming off of his bat on that line drive that hit Nauert was 108 miles per hour. Nauert, I don't believe he has a break. They x-rayed him after the game. We never found out actually what the results of those x-rays were, but he's supposed to be the umpire behind home plate in the second game of his doubleheader, should we be able to play one.
1-1 to Belt. Now back 1-2, so going right at him with fastballs. Well, there you see the pitches that Belt has done the damage with on the road. Red home runs.
I like the up and in 2 red spots. When a guy who's a tall hitter, and Belt's 6'5", that's where you want to pitch him, on the hands. Twice he's taken that pitch out of the ballpark.
Got him, and now end the inning. Lyles pitches through the air. Rockies coming up. Up who come into today's game with a 15-24 record. It'll be Blackman, Arenado, and Gonzalez. Tulowitzki will hit in the 4th spot. Then it's Rosario, Paulson, and Hundley. DJ LeMahieu, who's hurt the Giants this year, had a big home run last night. He'll hit 8. Lyles will hit 9.
On the hill for the Giants today will be the right-hander Chris Heston, making start number 9. Heston, 6'3", 195-pounder. He's 27 years of age. In his first year at the big league level, 3-3 with a 3.72 ERA. And with Heston, you're going to see a lot of sink on a fastball. It'll be low 90s. He'll also cut that ball. And he has a slurvy breaking ball, but it's a quick one. And a changeup.
So here's Charlie Blackman. He will lead things off. Blackman went 0 for 3 last night with a walk. And he takes a strike. He does have 4 hits and 6 at-bats against Heston with a home run. 2 guys have really good numbers against Heston and 6 at-bats, Blackman and DJ LeMahieu. As that pitch runs inside to even the count.
It's a cut fastball that will have movement running into the lefty. The sinker will run away from a lefty into a righty.
And that pitch just wide. 2 balls and a strike. Arenado to follow, and then Carlos Gonzalez. Three and one. So Heston started out Blackman with a strike. Has failed in his next 3 pitches. 3 balls and 1 strike. Outfield straight away. Blackman shoots this in on the ground, and it's right at Crawford on 1 hop. Crawford in the dirt, but Belt digs it out. 1 out.
Ooh, nice play, Brandon Belt. Let's take a look at that defense playing behind Chris Heston today for the Giants. Starting in the outfield from left to right will be Blanco, Pagan, and Pence. Crawford and Duffy on the left side of the infield. Panic and Belt on the right side. And Andrew Susac will be in the squad putting down the signs.
So here's Arenado hitting .262. 7 home runs, 20 driven in. Arenado takes a breaking ball down low. We all thought it was a little bit odd last night that Arenado did not hit in that 9th inning. It was McHenry who hit for him, and it turns out that he had some back spasms as he bounces this one foul. But back in there today.
I mean, that's the problem with stop starts. You have a long delay because of a rain delay, and guys lock up, they stiffen up, and that's the problem with day-night doubleheaders. Same thing happens to them.
Popped him up. Belt calling off everybody, but so's Duffy. But now Belt takes charge. 2 out. Here's our AT&T U-verse rewind. April 13th, 2015, Giants home opener. Chris Heston against the Rockies. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. But here's the bummer. He got the loss. And he pitched terrific.
Well, he's pitched terrific just about every time he's been out there, but he has to prove that he can pitch in live yards. And Coors Field is, of course, one of the liveliest yards in all of baseball.
Here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez takes wide. 1 for 4 last night. He had an RBI, drew a walk. Hitting at .201. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. And there's a belt tie strike with Tulowitzki to follow. Crawford shading Gonzalez to pull. Off the line at third is Duffy. And that fastball runs inside. It's 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1 pitch. Didn't get it. 3-1.
Still has not really harnessed the feel of that sinker.
Down the left field line and out of play. As now Crawford moves to the right of second base. Duffy even moves more towards the bag at second. He's at the shortstop position. Nobody at third. Here's the payoff to Gonzalez. And he walks it.
That's the one thing he did not do in his previous start here at Coors Field. He did not walk anybody in 5 1/3. And in that game, he didn't really pitch that poorly. He kind of had some bad luck going against him. I think, believe it, 4 extra base hits that went against him, and they were on the chalk line on both sides of the field. And that's just unlucky. But the important thing is he did not walk anybody. So this 2-out walk here to Gonzalez, first time he's issued a free pass at Coors Field. And that's one thing you can't do here.
Tulowitzki 1 for 5 in the game last night. And he takes a strike. He doubled off the wall for his hit. And he's 1 for 3 lifetime against Heston. Just underway here at Coors Field. Game was supposed to start at 2. Started at 4:25. 2:10. Strike to Tulowitzki, 0-2. Tulowitzki back in the box. Always has had an upright stance. There's the high fastball, the show me fastball, 1-2.
Now, the upright stance, I think, has always enabled him to cover the mistakes, belt high and above, beautifully. I mean, that's pitch against this guy. That's where he will hurt you. Good power.
On the ground and a base hit to right field. Tulowitzki just slapped it past Panic, and here's Willeen Rosario.
Well, that's something we did not see from Tulowitzki early in the year in either of the series. The one play in San Francisco or the one play here. None of this opposite field approach. I mean, it was search and destroy pretty much on every swing, and not much of a two-strike adjustment. So this, I'm sure, is something he's been working on to try and get out of the slump that he has been in. Not used to coming into this ballpark and seeing Tulowitzki hit 272.
Here's Rosario, who had a big night last night with 3 hits, and he moves back from an off-speed pitch. 3 for 5. He had a double. First time he's ever faced Chris Heston. He's got Gonzalez at second and Tulowitzki at first. And he bounces this one slowly to Crawford right near the bag. He will step on the bag, and that'll end the inning. No runs, a hit to left. Hunter Pence is going to lead things off. Here in Denver, it's 0-0.
Best record in the majors since April 21st. That would be, well, that would be the Giants. A record of 20-8, a win percentage of 714. The top 5: the Giants, the Astros, the Nationals, the Twins, and the Cardinals. And that's your frost brewed Coors Light cold hard facts.
Hunter Pence to lead it off here in the second inning. Pence, Crawford, Duffy. And the first pitch to Pence is a call strike. Pence in the ball game. Last night, Pence was 1 for 4. Chaps this one over Lyles, and LeMahieu is going to throw him out. Nice play. Pence gets down the line quickly. And here's Crawford. Crawford 0 for 5 lifetime against Lyles. Last night, Crawford went 1 for 5. Hitting at .299. And a strike, and it's 0-1 with Matt Duffy to follow. It's been an unusual day. We had rain that came down very hard, about as hard as you could ever imagine. We've had sunshine today. Inside to Crawford. 1 ball and 1 strike. We haven't had snow. We have had hail.
We had hail.
No fog.
I mean, it was Noah's Ark rain for a while. Is it Rocky Mountains? Right now, it's gorgeous. Perfect for baseball.
In the dirt to Crawford. Crawford's 28 RBIs leads this Giants team. Shoots this one out of play, 2-2.
The goal, if you're a pitcher for the Rockies, is to get the ball hit on the ground. Obviously, these live yard fly balls do not bode well for a pitcher if you're a fly ball guy in this ballpark. But in the Rockies infield, they have 3 Gold Glovers. Arenado at third, Tulowitzki at short, LeMahieu at second base. You just saw him make a Gold Glove caliber play. They can pick.
Justin Morneau on the disabled list. He's a pretty good first baseman.
Yeah, he's on the concussion list. 7-day DL. Very good first baseman.
Crawford on the ground to LeMahieu. 2 outs. Here's our Geico quote. Bruce Bochy on the rain delay fireworks last night. I was hoping they'd say we had the fireworks, now let's go home. But we had a window, and they played it.
Yeah, the 9th inning was very interesting. Rockies 6 hits, 5 in a row to start the inning. The Giants were not going to win that ball game, but it made you a little nervous.
Well, they ended up getting the tying run to the plate, and McCunley. Here's Duffy. Duffy takes a strike. Duffy at 301 in his second home run last night. Turned out to be a big fly, a big important big fly. Taps this one to Tulowitzki. And Tulowitzki will throw on the run, and that'll end the inning. 3 ground balls for Jordan Lyles. Heston back out, 0-0.
Big O Tires. Tires, service, straight talk. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Well, Thursday, May 28th is Chinese Heritage Night at AT&T Park. Need tickets, go to sfgiants.com/special event.
Here's Ben Paulson, who takes down low.
Your special event package will include a ticket to the game versus the Braves and a Giant-themed Year of the Ram figurine. And if you want to get the Ram figurine, you need to have a special event ticket.
Driven well to center field. Pagan looking up, gone. 1-0 Rockies. Paulson with his first home run of the year.
Ball middle in, just above the knee, right where guys love it, and Paulson taking on the middle of the field, right over the 415 side. And Pagan just simply runs out of room.
Here's Hundley. Hundley at 303 with 3 home runs, 12 driven in. Hundley last night 2 for 5. He struck out to end the ball game finally. And he rolls this one to Crawford, who's going to take his time getting to it, but then he hurried and made a nice throw. Dave Fleming's going to be in the 3rd inning. I'll be back here in the 7th. We will welcome back John Miller in Milwaukee. And it'll be good to see John. Here's DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu hitting .326. A couple of home runs. 20 runs batted in. His home run went into the bullpen. Into the Rockies bullpen in the game last night. Swing, going to miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And that's the best sink that he's had on a fastball. So important that he establishes that movement that drops down and works its way into a right-handed hitter away from the lefty. That's his bread and butter.
Big tapper to Crawford, who now backs up, and he'll make the play.
Now you talk about an example of an infielder with good feet. And it really is the strength of Crawford. He has great legs and he's got quick feet, good spring in his legs, which allows him to have soft hands. But backing up or charging, depending on the bounce of the ball, I mean, that's something that he recognizes, like all good infielders, very quickly, and exhibited on that play. And watch his movement. He has to back up, and all balance goes to that back leg and gets off a throw. That's a nice play.
0-1 to Jordan Lyles, who takes down low. Lyles on the year is 0 for 17.
Well, that doesn't make him a bad person.
Not at all.
See how many strikeouts he's got. 9. Ooh, good pitch. That's the best breaking ball that he's thrown. So it's to me like home run may have kicked in a little extra to Heston. He's starting to get better snap on his pitches.
10. Dave Fleming will be in. I'll see you back here in the 7th. Paulson's home run makes it 1-0 Rockies.
Your special event package will include a ticket to the game with the Giants take on the Braves, access to the pregame happy hour featuring live music and entertainment by Mustache Harbor, and a complimentary Lagunitas beer or soft drink. You need tickets, go to sfgiants.com/special events. Hey, it's the top of the third inning. Giants win or down 1-0. And here to tell you all about it, Dave Fleming.
All about it and more. Hi, Mike.
Hey, you snuck up on me. What are you doing here in the third inning?
A little early, but we got 2 games today, so a slightly different mix. Andrew Susac leading off against Jordan Lyles, who's got good stuff so far. Hard fastball at 94.
Yeah, he was impressive in the first inning when he pitched through a 3-base error.
Susac trying to get the bat going. He's in an 0-2 hole.
And that usually is what happens when you got a little funk going. You're in an 0-2 hole, like bang, bang. It seems like you're in an 0-2 hole after the first pitch. Just seems that way.
I think he's had some good at-bats anyway. He's worked some walks, worked counts, hit the ball hard a few times. Just hasn't had a lot of hits lately. Hadn't been playing all that much.
Well, that's a big reason why. But I agree with you. I don't think he's far off from taking off again. But as a young player, you have a tendency to press when you're not putting up some numbers. And he is stepping into this batter's box right now, hitting 200. So this is a significant at bat for him, staying off the interstate.
Two and two. That's a tight slider for strike 3 called. A high strike given by Dana DeMuth.
Take a look at the breaking ball. It's a high velocity breaking ball. It's not a big break. It's got a little tilt to it. It looks more like almost a cut because of the velocity, but a good pitch.
Heston with the bat in his hand takes ball 1. He's got a slower curveball. Lyles doesn't throw that all that often. Heston does have 1 hit. And he's got a pretty good swing.
Yeah, that's a swing that's built for hits. And if you watch him take batting practice like you and I do, I mean, he's a threat. Before it's all said and done in his career, I have a couple of home runs, maybe more.
That coming from a pitcher who had, what'd you have, 4 home runs?
5.
5. Sorry, I shorted you.
Thank you for asking. But we saw Heston against the Dodgers this spring against Greinke take a double off the wall in left center. Yep, right away it was like, this guy can hit.
Well, he's behind 1-2, and he chases one up for strike 3.
That's 4 strikeouts, first time through the lineup for Lyles.
So he's got swing and miss stuff today, which isn't always the case with him. I think he's always been a guy who's had good stuff, but he's a ground ball pitcher. He struck out Blanco on that bizarre play to start the game, where Blanco strikes out and ends up at third base.
3-base error. You don't see him very often, especially from a guy like Nick Hundley, who is a very accurate arm as a thrower. He was the guy that made the throwing error.
Blanco shows a bunt, but takes a strike.
That's 9 for 10 with first pitch strikes from Lyles.
So that's good.
And the only guy I did get strike 1 with was Chris Heston, the pitcher.
Blanco lined it right to Arenado. Hit it hard, but a good play by the third baseman. So the Giants go down in order. Heston back to the mound, 1-0 Rockies.
you by Momo's, a San Francisco tradition.
Dave Fleming, Mike Krukow back here in Denver, and sort of against all odds, can I call it a beautiful afternoon now?
Spectacular.
I mean, it's kind of unbelievable. We've got sunshine at the yard as Chris Heston back to work in the bottom of the third. 2-hour, 15-minute rain delay before the start of this one.
I mean, this is what Rocky Mountain Country is supposed to look like this time of year.
Yeah, by now, I mean, it's late May. It's supposed to be gorgeous in Denver. At least for the next 5 minutes or so, it is. Ball 2 to Blackman.
But you might want to reconsider plans for a picnic here.
Yes, those plans are on hold as far as I'm concerned. That ball is crushed to right field, but right there is Pence to make the catch.
Well, Blackman has hit 2 bullets, and he's got nothing to show for it. Well, if you're looking for the best coverage of San Francisco Giants baseball, log on to csnbayarea.com as insider Alex Pavlovich will provide wire-to-wire reporting of the Giants season. Get breaking news, videos, special features, and more only on csnbayarea.com.
1 out. Blackman is gone, so here's Arenado. One after that first pitch. It's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, he does not get cheated. Apparently the stiffness that he had in his back last night that did not allow him to return after the rain delay he's feeling a little bit better. I mean, judging on that last swing.
Yeah, he looked plenty loose. Well, they miss him when he's gone. He has turned into a cornerstone of this lineup, and of course his defense is so good. He hits that one deep down the left field line. Foul.
Strike 2. Now let's take a look. How foul was it? Oh, way foul.
Way foul.
Guy's got to make a play. He had his glove on and everything. Had it played perfectly.
1-2. He got Arenado to chase and hit a little tapper. Heston throws him out. 2 down.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
Does not seem right.
Guy hits a 375-foot strike, and then all of a sudden he hits a little tapper and he's out. Hang with him.
Well, for Heston, shake that one off and try to get through this third. 1-2-3 against the top of the order. Carlos Gonzalez walked his first time up. Rockies got a 2-out walk, then the base hit from Tulowitzki before Willeen Rosario made the final out. That one almost hits him.
Look out.
Now, one thing that Bruce Bochy told us before the game, he has no firm rules. I mean, he's going to try to win this game, worry about the next game after this. There's a strike from Heston, but he did say he needs to get some innings out of Heston. So if there's some trouble early in the game, Heston's going to have to pitch through it.
And he knows that going into the start.
That ball chopped softly to first. Belt to Heston. That's a good inning for the sinker baller. Blackman, Arenado, Gonzalez gone in order. Panic, Pagan, and Belt coming up.
The last 4 games, Hudson, Lincecum, Bumgarner, and Vogelsong combined 4-0 with no runs allowed in 25 2/3 innings. They've only given up 17 hits. Folks, that is a wonderful time through the rotation. And that's our McDonald's True Stories.
So no pressure, Chris Heston, but the bar's pretty high.
And it's Coors Field.
Yeah. Joe Panik, 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Giants. There's Ryan Vogelsong. Gosh, when you look at what happened to just about every other pitcher in the game last night compared to how he pitched, it makes his performance even more impressive.
And how he did it, too. He did it with his fastball, and he put on an absolute clinic with how he mixed movement with a couple of grip changes and just painted corners. I mean, he was fantastic.
One and one to Joe Panik against Lyles. He takes ball 2. First time through the order, Lyles was pretty darn good.
Well, yeah, 4 strikeouts, no walks. The only runner that got on base was Gregor Blanco, and he got on base. He struck out, wild pitch, and then there's an error by Nick Hundley that allowed him to go to third base. He did not score. That itself is remarkable. Giants still looking for their first hit, and Lyles has been on top of them.
Well, good hitters count for Panik, and he drills one into right field. There is their first hit. So that's kind of how it's supposed to go, right? You work yourself ahead of the count, you look for a pitch, you get it, you hit it hard.
Quality at bat.
He is aboard to start the 4th.
Set up on the outside corner. It's a 3-1 count. You know he's going to have to challenge. It comes across the plate, middle in, and he just drops the head on it. That's exactly what he was looking for. Fastball, middle in. He's not going to miss those. He's going to hit it hard someplace.
Well, the Giants' offense overall has been outstanding during this hot streak, really over the last several weeks. So you figure at some point here today they're going to break through. Pagan takes outside, ball 1. Pagan continues to swing the bat well. He's hitting .321. Doesn't have a home run yet. One thing about Lyles, even at Coors, he didn't give up a lot of home runs. Ball 2. Lyles has allowed 2 home runs in 44 plus innings. Look at that.
Giants on top of the National League in batting average.
So they are not the top slugging team in the league. They don't hit with a ton of power, but a lot of hits lately and more power lately. Pagan could be 2. LeMahieu, Tulowitzki, not in time. Enough speed to stay out of the double play, although I do think the Rockies, everybody does it now. You take a look in the video room just to confirm.
Oh, any close play, absolutely. So they'll have a little imaginary meeting out on the mound. A couple of Gold Glovers. LeMahieu from the hip.
And they're challenging.
No, they're going to win this.
I think they are. Not by much, but I do believe that Pagan was out.
I want to see some more angles. I mean, I'm not 100% sure.
So our replay review presented by Xfinity. The umpires go over and put the headsets on. They'll talk to New York, and the replay umpires back in the MLB replay headquarters in New York. They're the ones who actually make the decision. But Marcus Patillo, who is the fill-in first base umpire in the first game of this doubleheader, plus the crew chief, and they're going to make a quick decision. Out. Well, that didn't take long.
They got it right. He's in the grasp of the glove. Saw a little air underneath the shoe of Pagan. Man, wouldn't it be nice if they came back that quick every time?
Yeah. Good job. Call goes against the Giants, but if you're going to look at it, take a look, make your decision. That's what they did. Rockies keep their challenge. 42 seconds, they say, time of the review. 2 down, bases empty now after the double play with Belt up. Hundley tried to frame that fastball right on the outside corner, but it missed. Numbers for Belt continue to just look so impressive. He did strike out his first time up today. He breaks his bat, flips one into shallow right field. He'll take it. A 2-out base hit.
Well, the bat hit made it almost out to the second base position. Got into the dirt part of the infield. Let's see where this ball actually hit the bat. It's a Maplewood. I mean, that wasn't that far up the bat.
No.
There for a while, we'd see balls just getting, or bats getting shattered, flying up in the stands almost daily. And you don't see that much anymore. They've corrected that problem, but that Maplewood bat blew up like a lot of the old ones used to.
Yeah, they've actually done a really good job of addressing that. It was a problem for a while. Here's Pence. He hits a hard ground ball, base hit into center field. Belt is going to turn and stop. I thought Belt was going to go over to third, but he'll stop in scoring position. And a hit for Hunter Pence.
Well, Blackmon, I mean, he doesn't have an overly strong arm. It's a good arm, and he's tied for the league's lead in assists with 5. So with 2 outs for Roberto Kelly saying, we're not going to test this guy. You know, the guy who leads the league in assists doesn't always have the strongest arm.
Yeah.
Guys with the strongest arm, nobody runs on him. But.
Well, now, is Lyles hurt? Man, that would be very bad news for the Rockies. We're in the 4th inning of game 1 of a doubleheader. Trainer's out.
It really is the goal for both managers to try and get into the other team's bullpen early. But this was something, the way that he's been throwing it, you were thinking this guy's going to give him 5 or 6 at least.
Is that a foot or an ankle?
He's going right to the toe of his plant foot. But listen, if your plant foot is sore and you have a bad toe or an ingrowing toenail or who knows what he could have, but if you're landing and you can't plant, you will throw around that pain, and you will expose your arm to injury.
Yeah. So that's where a tiny little injury like a toe or a toenail could have dire consequences. That's why you got to be careful with it.
It really could. I mean, one of baseball's greatest pitchers, Dizzy Dean, had a ball hit off his foot in an All-Star game, and it affected the way that his mechanics were in his lower body, and it eventually hurt his arm, cost him his career. I mean, he wound up in the Hall of Fame anyway, but still, I mean, it can happen that way.
Lyles.
I've seen ingrown toes. I've seen he plants it. There's a little tweak right there, and he kind of grimaced. And it looks like it came off the toe.
Well, he looks reluctant to me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's comfortable. But he knows the deal. I mean, he's trying to gut it out here.
Well, in the end, he sort of shoves the trainer away.
Now, as Kipe always likes to say, I mean, you have to talk your way into the game because the trainer's going to try and talk you out of it. You have to convince him, and in doing so, you'll convince the manager as well that you can still stay in the game.
Now, one thing, they're going to watch him closely now. He's an important part of their franchise. This is a team that has really struggled to find starting pitching. He's 24. He's got good stuff. He's had some pretty good success even in this ballpark. I mean, they'd be careful with anybody, but Jordan Lyles with 2 on and 2 out. 3 hits in the inning for the Giants, but the double play. Crawford, who is 0 for 1. Trying to tie the game or more. That one was not close.
He's thinking about it.
Yeah, he definitely is.
And here's where you start to throw around that pain. You start landing on the other side of your foot. It just changes the weight distribution from your back leg to your plant leg.
That one was up and in the strike zone, but Crawford took it.
Well, 1-0 count. He wasn't looking for a changeup.
Yeah. That's not the changeup that Lyles wants to throw, I don't think, but it was very effective early in the count. Crawford drills one and foul. Hit it deep but foul.
She's happy.
Yeah. Sat through the rain delay, waited for the ball game to start, and look what we got.
One thing about folks here in Denver, they love their sunshine.
They do. It's an outdoor kind of town.
Oh yeah, sometimes it's hard to be humble.
1-2 in the dirt. I don't know if that was that cutter again, or
I think it was a changeup.
A changeup, harder changeup. He's been pretty good in at bats like this, hasn't he?
Well, I'll say 9 for 20 with 13 ribeyes. Hitting a 450 clip. You got to feel confident in these spots.
I don't know. It looks to me like he's seeing the ball pretty well. Off of Lyles. 2-2. Foul to the backstop.
And a good pitch to hit. 94-mile-an-hour challenge. That's his reach back velocity right there. See the outfield there straight away. Slight pull from Tulowitzki, the shortstop, and Arenado, the third baseman.
Belt's got pretty good speed at second. A base hit to the outfield should get a run home. Another 2-2 way in front of the plate, and a good stop by Hundley. Man, that thing wasn't even close.
That's 2 times he's got that changeup, and 2 times he's throwing 1 hoppers into Nick Hundley. And he wasn't having a problem with that pitch the first time through the lineup. Watch the left foot as he plants to see if there's. To me, it looks like he's pretty solid there.
Does give the Giants the advantage. Full count, 2 down. Both the base runners can take off as soon as Lyles is actually throwing the pitch, and he wants to go through the signs again. Now they're going to talk about it.
Well, it's usually a location discussion. Or perhaps when you bring a shortstop or a second baseman in, it could be they're changing the signs. When I say in a discussion of location, maybe Lyles wants to throw a fastball and he wants to throw it in, but Hundley wants to throw him away. This is where a catcher will see something with a hitter in the batter's box that will know that it's better to throw that fastball away than inside. And that may be what Hundley went out there to talk about.
Well, this is a big pitch, still pretty early in this game. There go the runners, and Crawford, a line drive base hit past Tulowitzki. Belt will score. The Giants have tied the game, and Brandon Crawford comes through again.
A 2-strike, 2-out RBI, and again, the second or the left field side of second base. That's just a solid, well-balanced approach. Plant, throw, plant, throw, and there's just no wasted movement. And it's not like he's making a big 2-strike adjustment with his swing either. It's very compact. It's the same swing you see him have when it's a 2-0 count. Look at the location, out over the plate at the belt. And that's a location mistake. It's a challenge, but he still has to hit it. And he is not missing them.
So Crawford drives in another run. Knocked in more runs than any other shortstop in the big leagues. Matt Duffy has a chance to really extend this rally, get another run home, and keep the line moving. With Lyles seeming vulnerable right now, and a ground ball past Rosario. That's a hit for Duffy. He loves to go to right field. Pence is in. The Giants are ahead. Matt Duffy drives home a run.
Just jumping on the first pitch. So whatever happened to the foot of Lyles is something that the Rockies are sensing is not getting any better.
Yeah, he may be coming out of the game now. He's a totally different guy. Pitching coach, manager, trainer, all coming out.
They're seeing a lot of mistakes up. You know, when you see the velocity, that can be deceiving. You can have the same velocity, but once you lose the movement, that little second stage hop you had, that'll disappear. And as you elevate, and that wasn't a high pitch. That's just nice hitting from Duffy. So again, he talks him back off the hill. But there is some activity in the Rockies bullpen now.
Well, and as long as Lyles is seemingly vulnerable, I think this becomes a big at bat in the game. The Giants have had 5 hits in the inning, 4 hits in a row, all of those with 2 outs. So the second time through the order, and a lot of that after the foot problem that we've been talking about. Big difference for the Giants. You got the pitcher on deck, but Susac a chance where a hit scores another run. First and third, 2 down. In the dirt, ball 1.
And this is where he can hurt you. I mean, he's got good power.
He does.
And it's to the middle of the field.
(1-0). Swing and miss, strike 1.
94-mile-an-hour straight country hardball challenge there.
Seven hits, 36 at bats, 1 double, 1 home run for Susac. And a pickoff throw that goes away from Rosario. That will give the Giants a run. Wow. Crawford in to score on what will be an error on the pitcher. It is 3-1 Giants. That's a gift.
Well, it really is. Just kind of goosed it up there. Rosario is not a great first baseman. I mean, he doesn't have great hands. I mean, he's more of an offensive player and kind of jabs at it with a backhanded, hard-handed attempt to try and catch it. Still, you're right. It's E1, but most first basemen will get that.
Yeah, it's not really well done on either side. Outside ball 2 to Susac. That is an error on the pitcher.
And that's the kind of play that can really fragment your concentration. You're so mad at yourself. You see a run go across the plate. That's when you can make a mistake for location.
Strike 2 called.
That was not a mistake to location. That was perfect out of the cutter.
That's a good take by Susac.
Now he's looking fastball middle in, perhaps.
Now with 2 strikes, he can't be as choosy, but it's still 2-1. You don't want to swing at a pitch where the best you can do is hit a ground ball or hit one weakly. He takes low.
But that's why I think he's getting close to getting out of this funk, because you don't see him reach very often.
Yeah.
He's getting his legs under his swings. I mean, he's balanced.
I think so too. Rosario's going to play behind Duffy, who will take off. Another full count here. It's been a long inning for Lyles. The Giants have scored 3 times already. There goes Duffy. Susac pops it up, way up there. Rosario for out number 3. But the Giants jump on Lyles and score 3. Middle of the 4th, 3-1 Giants.
Kendrick. And folks, it stayed in the air a long time. Upper deck, 475-foot bomb. And for Brandon Belt, it was home run number 4 of the year, and that was our T-Mobile game changer. Lit the bench up.
It got the Giants really going last night. The offense came fast and furious after that. And Brandon Belt has just continued to hit for the Giants after his miserable start to the year. You look at the numbers, right now he's one of the best hitters in the National League. That's it. The turnaround happened fast.
Hit 320. I mean, come on.
Tulowitzki takes a strike.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was at about 172 and absolutely at sea underwater.
Curve, strike 2. See how Heston pitches now with a lead. Giants score 3 times in the top of the 4th. Base hit for Tulowitzki his first time up. Lunges to third. Duffy all the way across in time. The plan for Bruce Bochy is Duffy plays game 1, McGee plays game 2 at third. Duffy could, in theory, find his way into the lineup at a different spot for game 2, depending how this one goes. They'll also have Posey behind the plate, Aoki in left. So at least at those spots, Bochy already has told those guys, okay, you're going to sit out game 1 at the start, be in there game 2.
That's a much better breaking ball than he had in the first inning. First inning, I was a little concerned about this guy. And then all of a sudden, boom, a home run by Ben Paulson to lead off the second. And immediately he found the breaking ball, a little sink.
That one off to the right, out of play. One thing I will say about Heston, he's Mr. Distraction this year in terms of the spots the Giants have put him in. He started the home opener. He made his first true big league start in that first series in Arizona. He started the ring ceremony night. He had the rain problems in Cincinnati. And now today, with the 2-hour delay before the start of the game, it hadn't been easy on him. I mean, he's only made, well, how many starts has he made now?
This is number 9.
Yeah, so that's about 5 times where something's been weird, different. Two and two.
And he's very approachable on the day that he pitches. A lot of guys kind of go into a shell and withdraw.
Ryan Vogelsong.
Ryan Vogelsong.
We love him for it.
But Heston's not that way. I mean, he's pretty loose. And I think that probably is why he has had success in a lot of those distraction starts. You see Ryan Vogelsong, 6 shutout innings last night, the winning pitcher.
Greatest guy in the world the day after he pitches.
Yeah, it's a matter of fact.
He's smart, he's funny, he's engaging, he's outgoing. 3-2. Rosario, another foul. Hey, it's the way he's always done it. It's been successful for him. I used to worry about Vogelsong just burning himself out with all that intensity as a long season. How can you do that start after start after? But hey, that's how he does it. Strike 3 swinging.
Good breaking ball.
Second strikeout for Heston.
Just right on the outer third, and then let the movement fall away and hope he chases. But I mean, that really doesn't tell you as to how quick it was. It was quick. You can't really see the quickness of the Exmo.
Curveball rolled to second. So Paulson, who homered his first time up, has gone on 1 pitch this time. And do you think it's fair to say Chris Heston has found a little groove?
Shutdown inning. back to May 24, 2002, when Barry Bonds, on a challenge, hit the ball on the purple line when nobody thought it was possible. Now, they've reconstructed the upper tank in this ballpark. Had he hit that ball today with today's configuration, we're going to show you where it would have gone.
Pitcher Heston leading off. Okay, let's look.
Now, if you see the U in the Tawaka sign, that's where it would have hit.
You stand here and you just think that is not possible.
That is not possible. He went down to the first base that night and he was talking to Todd Helton. He says, I hit the purple line. And Helton looked at him and just said, right.
Yeah.
Did not believe it. The U in the Tawaka sign, that is where he hit the ball.
Heston, a little bloop, and that will be a leadoff hit for the Giants pitcher. How about that? Slightly less impressive than the Bond swing.
But nevertheless, a big league knock. And it gets Lyles right back in the stretch after he had a rough fourth. Set up in the outside corner, just right off the end of the bat. That's a fang.
Barry's was batting practice. This actually counts.
He was in the batting cage at Benito Santiago. He sees him flip one up in the upper tank. He goes, if you're that good, hit the purple line. Whoop, next pitch. Purple lined it.
Well, we tell the story every year. We're probably the only show in the big leagues. Blanco down the right field line. That's going to be a fair ball. Extra bases, and we'll see if Heston can make it home. Roberto Kelly will put on the stop sign for the pitcher, but the Giants are set up second and third. Nobody out.
Beat him early in the count. Think about what his ratio was the first 10 guys he faced in this game. A lot of first pitch strikes. And the Giants are sitting on him now. Fastball, middle in. Just a sweet stroke. They had completely given Blanco the line. Gonzalez, the right fielder, was playing towards the gap in right center. But with Heston, below average speed, nobody out, hold him up.
Yeah, different runner, that scores a run. Rockies are going to bring the infield in, not all the way in, but in a bit against Panic. Great chance here for the Giants to really open this one up. And that one hits Panic. Man, way inside. So things are coming apart for Jordan Lyles. Bases loaded, nobody out with Pagan coming up, and there has to be a lot of concern in that Colorado dugout.
Well, there absolutely is. I mean, they know he's not right. But how about the quick 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the fourth? Ooh, right behind the knee.
Yeah.
This is one that's going to get stiff as the game wears on. He may not be able to play the second game.
Well, they're coming out again with the trainer. This is the third trainer visit in the last 2 innings. And I get it, you're trying to be careful, but at some point is the answer going to be different?
I think they're going to go to the pin.
Yeah, it just feels that way, and they are. And I really don't blame him. He was clearly a very different pitcher after an awkward landing on his plant foot. He convinced them to let him stay in the game. First 3 innings, did not allow a run, did not allow a hit through 32 pitches, and was dominant. Since then, the Giants have been on him. So a new pitcher coming in from the bullpen. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
Francisco Giants and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Baseball Associates, LLC.
Well, we just want to remind you back here in Denver, this is game 1 of a doubleheader. So tonight we've listed the time as later, 6 Pacific time roughly, but this game was delayed by a couple hours. It's a split doubleheader, so we're not sure. But later tonight, game 2 of the doubleheader tomorrow afternoon before the Giants head to Milwaukee. Holiday morning time baseball on Memorial Day Monday. Back home on Thursday with the Braves in town for their only trip. Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. So that's what the next week or so looks like. And Bruce Bochy really has been talking about getting through these next couple days with this doubleheader looming and then feeling real good about things. New pitcher after Lyles leaves, Johan Flande, who will get as much time as he needs because Lyles left technically because of injury. So Flande, the left-hander, 3rd big league appearance of the year, called up from the minor leagues just a couple weeks ago. We first saw him with the Phillies in their organization, but he pitched in the big leagues last year with Colorado. So Johan Flande comes in.
Yeah, he's been around a while. I mean, he's 10 years in organized baseball, 29 years old, 6'2", 180-pounder, rookie. You're going to see a fastball that's right around 90 with a hard slider and a changeup. And you'll see a lot of sliders, changeups.
So we'll see from Pagan here. He'll turn around and bat right-handed. Belt, the left-hander, is on deck. Bases loaded, nobody out. Great opportunity for the Giants to really open this game up. And Pagan looking for a good at-bat here. He popped out with a runner at 3rd in the 1st, hit into a double play in the 3rd. Foul ball, strike 1.
Man, I think that's a good pitch to have out. I mean, guy coming out of the bullpen, you have bases loaded. You have to make something happen. You have to attack that strike zone. So he's sitting on a fastball, got it, just a little tardy. But I like the aggressive frame of mind.
Even a double play ball here, and the Rockies are playing for it. Will get a run home. Not that that's what the Giants are shooting for. That is ball 1.
The thing about Pagan, though, he's tough to double up, even from the right side. It's because of his speed. I think he's thinking gap right center.
Rockies have the center fielder Blackman shaded slightly in that direction, just slightly. 1-1. Just misses
by about half a ball. We've seen those bell highs called in this game by Dana Demuth, the plate umpire.
So great spot to hit here. Bases loaded and ahead in the count. 2-1. Flande. Ball 3 outside.
Not a lot on that slider.
No.
That had some big league hang time. And that's the look of a pitcher that just hung a slider.
Well, now what do you do? 3-1. A walk forces in a run. Pagan popped it up. And I don't know if it's deep enough. We'll see. Cargo makes the catch, and Heston's not going anywhere. Well, that is a very big first out. And it does impact things because you have that pitcher over there at 3rd. You're not going to send him if it's even close.
Not against Carlos Gonzalez, the right fielder. You got one of the best arms in the National League. And you're not going to do it with nobody out. I mean, with one out, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
20% of the time you would.
So now Belt, and this becomes a huge at bat. You still have a chance to score a run without a hit, but say a strikeout or another pop up, and the Rockies have a chance to get through the jam with Flande out of the bullpen. Belt drives one to left, and that will be caught. Heston goes back to tag, and he won't be able to score. Wow.
I don't think that even if he'd have been standing on the bag that they'd have sent him anyway. I mean, with Paulson, who has a pretty good arm, he had good momentum coming into the play. And this is not the type of play that you have to worry too much about a cutoff man because the base is being loaded. So because of all that momentum and a slow runner at third, you're just going to have to eat it. Now he breaks home, and now he goes back to the base. Now that's a mistake. It should have broke to the bag. But even at that, I don't think they would have sent him.
Yeah.
But he did make a mistake breaking home.
And that is bad luck. Pagan didn't have a great at bat. Belt hit it hard. So now it's up to Pence. Bases loaded, 2 down. Slider low, ball 1. Man, the Rockies will strut back to the dugout if somehow they can get through this without allowing a run. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the third place hitter coming up against a guy cold out of the bullpen. Pence, though, will knock in at least 1, and I think 2, right behind Heston. Here comes Blanco. A very big hit for Pence. It's 5-1 Giants.
We're going to make it our Ford Wright choice. And this is how you pick up your teammates. This is how you pick up Angel Pagan and Brandon Belt. All of a sudden you get a 2-out base hit where the base is loaded and knocks in 2. Especially in Coors Field. Well, we're going to make it our Ford Wright choice. It's all about picking up your teammates. You pick up them, somewhere down the road they're going to pick you up. And he got a good pitch to hit too. Belt high, out over the plate. Job well done. Our Ford Wright choice.
Yep. So now Crawford, 5-1 Giants. Still 2 on. He swings over that slider, strike 1. And I think, look, Pagan and Belt will both be disappointed they didn't get at least 1 run batted in. But with that pitcher at third, it did change things. It wasn't your typical runner at third, less than 2 outs kind of situation. So maybe it was a spot where you needed that hit. And Pence came up with it. Chases another one.
Well, now you've seen both off-speed pitches. Now you at least have a little base knowledge away from the fastball.
You know, we don't see a lot of swings like that from Crawford against lefties. He is very good against lefties. Oh, 2. We'll see if Flande throws another breaking ball. Crawford just stays alive.
Change up. Does not want to throw him a fastball. Hey, as hot as Crawford's been, I don't blame him. Unless your fastball is your best pitch as far as performance and velocity.
Crawford tied the game his last time up with a base hit. Now he drives one into the gap in right center field. Blackman is not going to get it, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Into score panic, right behind it, Pence. Over to third, Crawford. It's a triple. And Brandon Crawford continues to destroy the National League. 7-1 Giants.
Another 2-strike, 2-out base hit that knocks in a pair. I mean, have yourself a career first half, and look at the location. The first fastball he gives him is right up there at the belt. In fact, I think it was above. And what's the easiest place to defend between the belt and the letters on your chest? That was right in his groove. And he finds a gap in right center, and there was nothing that Charlie Blackman, the center fielder, could do. Stay hot. Brandon Crawford. Wow. That's 2-out, 2-strike knocks that produce runs today for Crawford.
Remarkable. Duffy takes ball 1. Look at that. Up to 500 on the year in those kind of at bats, and 7 for his last 8. The thing is, you make one mistake to him and he's on it. Ball 2 to Duffy.
Oh, you're right, and he's just not missing when guys make location mistakes. And I don't care what speed you run up there, he's on everything.
Two 2-0. Ball 3 way outside. Well, Flande came on. He got the first 2 guys. He got Pagan and Belt, although Belt crushed one. And it looked like, hey, maybe the Rockies would get out of this. Since then, the Giants have scored 4 runs. There is a strike call to Duffy.
I don't think Duffy's that bad about that strike on the 3-0. I mean, that was a take sign from the bench.
Now he actually gets a chance to hit. There's a runner at third. He can knock in another run. He did that his last time up. Here he hits one to center field and well hit. Blackmon on the move. He'll get to this one though. But the Giants, and largely because of that guy, another big inning, open this one up 7-1 in Denver.
Through the third, there are dynamic deals associated with the June 1st and June 2nd game. That means tickets start as low as $8. That's right, 8 Bungeros. Go to sfgiants.com/dynamic deal to purchase tickets for the Pirates series and to see future dynamic deals.
Hey, the Pirates are a star-studded team these days. McCutchen and Marte and Polanco in the outfield.
Garrett
Cole has become one of the aces of the league. Pedro Alvarez hitting home runs.
Be a good series.
Good team. Well, Chris Heston looks up at the scoreboard now, and he was a part of the rally. It is 7-1 Giants.
I want to address that too, just to stress the importance of what he did.
0-1 to Hundley to left field and pretty deep, carrying at altitude and carrying over the wall by plenty. Home run for Nick Hundley. 7-2 the score.
And that was just a flat-out hanging slider. And Hundley, he is a good defender of mistakes above the belt as well. And look at the location. That is a pitch he just quit on. Kind of laid it in there. And Hundley shows that he's got pretty good power going halfway up the bleachers.
4th home run of the year for him. So this will not be one of those shutdown innings, as you call them. LeMahieu takes ball 1.
But you saw the top of the 4th inning when Jordan Lyles struggled. Giants had scored a couple runs, 3 runs, and then you saw Heston go right into the heart of the lineup, 4, 5, 6, the bottom of the 4th, and go 1, 2, 3, and boom, the Giants are right back up. And then he leads off and gets a base hit.
That one is a base hit up the middle from LeMahieu. So here come the Rockies.
Oh yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're not. 6 runs down. Come on, these guys. That doesn't even faze them.
Weren't you surprised? No, we're still in mid-May. The weather's not been great here, but I noted last night after the game they scored 8 runs last night. That was their season high at Coors Field.
Everything about the statistics this year involving the Rockies offensively is blowing my mind. They've only hit 37 home runs coming into this game. Now with the 2 home runs today, 39, and that's I mean they usually lead the league in that. Runs scored, they've scored 158. Giants have scored more runs than they have, 166 prior to today's game.
bunt attempt by Flande, who will stay in the game.
It's just not very Coors Field-ish when you look at their numbers. And look at Troy Tulowitzki hit 272 prior to this game. That's a bit odd. So Rockies, who we thought were a pretty offensive club coming into this season, have not lived up to that expectation yet.
But as we saw last night, when you're in this ballpark, I mean, it's 7-1. It's the 5th inning. That is a long way to go. Flande bunts, and a pretty good bunt. Belt thought about it with the lead here at Coors. You don't take a chance. You get the out. He'll take it.
Well, the other thing, too, is he didn't know about Flande, what kind of runner he is. If it had been a pitcher and he'd have seen that runner coming down the line a little bit slower, he'd have gone to second base with the idea that even if you don't get the lead runner, you're going to be able to get the slow running pitcher on the backside of first base. And he sees all that in front of him. Very quickly process the decision. Better get the one out. And when you have a 5-run lead, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So nice job from Flande to get the bunt down.
If this were not a doubleheader, we would have seen a pinch hitter almost assuredly there, I think.
Yes.
But Walt Weiss wants another inning or more out of his reliever. Here's Blackmon, who has nothing to show for 2 pretty good at bats.
Yeah. Bullet up the middle snagged by Crawford, and a bullet to right field snagged by Hunter Pence. So Heston hasn't exactly been popping him up.
That one is a foul ball.
And Blackmon had really been struggling prior to the Giants getting here.
It was sort of a sign of his struggles in the midst of that pretty remarkable 9th inning last night. They used a pinch hitter for him in the middle of that rally, which at times when we come in here and we see those numbers, he's hitting way over 300. That would be almost unthinkable. Blackmon to right center field, and that one hit deep. Headed toward the bullpen's gone. Here come the Rockies. Second home run of the inning, 3rd home run of the game. Lead is down to 3.
So Dave Righetti going to come out, and this is going to be a discussion of concentration. You're starting to see mistakes up from Heston, where you hadn't really seen him the last couple innings. And you can see a pitcher lose concentration when he gets a big lead in a game. He took the hill, started this inning, and he has a 6-run lead, and he's made 2 mistakes up, and he's paid the price for each one. Hanging slider to Hundley, and this is just a lazy fastball in T-ball position right over the middle of the plate. So it's basically get your head out of your armpit, get your concentration back.
It's only 66 pitches, and as we've been talking about, they need him to sort of max out in this game. Arenado still only 1 out, strike 1 with the fastball. Arenado 0 for 2. That curveball popped up, way up there. Pagan easing his way in. Had a long way to go, 2 down.
I'd like to know when Dave Righetti goes out to the mound to have a talk with the pitcher, I'd like to know what the batting average is of that next hitter after he has a conversation. Because I'm going to nominate him motivational speaker of the year.
Well, it's not like he's real stern. You don't see him. You know, some pitching coaches, they sort of get into their guys out on the mound. You never see that from him. Well, by the way, we need to remind you, Sportsnet Central, Warriors Playoff Central, live pregame coverage with the Warriors playing Game 3 tonight, coming up next and airing right now on Comcast Sportsnet Plus. If you're looking for that, channels 104, 780 on Comcast DirecTV 696-1, AT&T channel 771. You can always log on to csnbayarea.com. That's Warriors pregame going on now. Carlos Gonzalez, and just beyond the reach of Blanco. Strike 2.
A change up on the outside part of the plate that Carlos Gonzalez went to left field with. I thought the way that Blanco was getting over there, he was going to have a chance to catch this. And he had to run about a 30-yard sprint to get to it.
High altitude training.
You definitely are, after a 4-game series here, you definitely are tired if you're a player because of that.
Down and in. I think it's so hard to quantify, but the Rockies, you know, they've had some years where they've finished really, really strong. But you do have to wonder the toll it takes over the full season on these guys. Close from Heston, but ball 3. You do not want to walk Carlos Gonzalez here.
You do not. Do not want to give this guy a chance to hit this inning.
3-2. Ball 4. He did walk it.
2 walks in the game for Heston, and they both been to Carlos Gonzalez.
That's one thing you always see from pitchers trying to get a grip on the ball here in Denver, even on a rainy day.
Yeah, there's a little more humidity in the air than you normally have here, but it is a problem. The dryness of Denver.
Tulowitzki lunging for that curveball. Good pitch, and the Giants get the 3rd out. A couple home runs, 3 runs, but the Giants still in front, 7-4 through 5. It'll be a 7:15 game, and it's mustache night at the ballpark. First 40,000 fans will receive an orange foam mustache courtesy of Lyft. So get your tickets at sfgiants.com/tickets. I unfortunately will not be able to participate.
Really?
Susak down the left field line. He crushed that one, and that'll be extra bases for Susak, who needed it. A leadoff double here in the 6th.
Yeah, he did. He needed that. Good balance in that swing. That's the balance we're talking about. Immediately he's off the interstate, up above 200 again. A little challenge cutter. Not pulling off that at all.
If you gave me a month, I couldn't grow a mustache.
Well, we could draw it in.
Okay, I take it back. I can participate.
Yes, you can.
Heston goes to bunt. He took that pitch in the dirt. It's a good bunter. And this would be a spot where a bunt would be a big play. Set it up for Blanco with a runner at third, only one out. He bunts it. Real good one. Flande has to hurry, and he gets it there in time.
That's absolutely perfect execution of a bunt with a runner at second base. You want to bunt that ball on the third base side. The only person who was going to have a chance at that was going to be the pitcher. Flande makes a pretty good play. Just drops it right off the end of the bat, deadens the ball. And Arenado immediately says first base. Nobody covered third. Perfect.
He deserves some high fives for that one. And some water. So now Blanco, who has doubled, lined out, and struck out with the infield in. A little extra pressure on the defense. Foul. They got a real big chunk of Hundley.
That rocked him.
I guess you can smile. I don't think I'd be smiling.
He's a tough guy, as every big league catcher is, but this rocks him. I mean, it puts him right back on his heels. Hundley, son of a college football coach.
He's kind of got that mentality behind the plate. We've seen him for many years with the Padres, now in Colorado.
He's a really good player, really good catcher. I would bet a month's paycheck that when this guy's done playing, he'll be a manager.
Foul ball, strike two. A month's paycheck, huh?
You could just tell. All right, 2 weeks. 2 weeks that's all I'm doing. And I'm not getting off the 2-week thing. But, he has the same presence about him that Mike Matheny has. A guy that sees the game well, understands the ins and outs mentally of players.
0-2. Blanco takes the ball. I just saw Mike Matheny. I was in New York for the Mets and the Cardinals on Monday. He says to say hi to you.
Well, that's good. Hello back. It's one of my favorites, Mike Matheny. And he's got it going again in St. Louis with those guys. Cardinals are a good team.
They're playing a game right now, so he's probably not watching us. 2-2. He does follow the Giants, even though the Cardinals and the Giants are obvious rivals, have met in the postseason already a couple times with Matheny as the Cardinals manager. He loved his time with the Giants.
Well, he wore the uniform well.
Blanco, and we'll see. Gonzalez coming in. Is Susac going to test him? I don't think so. That was way too shallow.
Not that arm. Pitchers and catchers need not apply on a short pop-up to Gonzalez if you're trying to tag from third to home.
You see a ball in this park hit that high, you sometimes wonder, well, it doesn't look like much, but will it carry enough at altitude, drift out there deep enough? Not that one. So the Giants, they've picked up a lot of hits in these kind of spots. They have not been great with a chance to score a run without a hit in this game.
This is a big moment in this game. I mean, Rockies put a 3 spot on the board. They're feeling pretty good about themselves offensively. Giants trying to answer that here. If they do, they can bring momentum back into their dugout.
Panic's been hit by a pitch, scored a run. He's also singled.
And they're giving him left side. They're giving a lot of opening on the left side of the infield.
He's one of the few guys that I think really has the ability to effectively look at the defense and say, I'm going to look for a pitch where I can hit it there to a specific spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Didn't have a lot of swing, very compact. Contact hitter, use the middle of the field.
Takes a strike.
I was complaining one time when I was a player in Philadelphia. I had hit the ball right on the screws 4 times in a row to the shortstop. Fuffle, out, fuffle, out. And I was moaning and groaning about it. Pete Rose says, well, why don't you hit it between the holes, third, short? I'm going, well, I'm just trying to hit the ball.
That one is hit to the right side and past. Rosario could not come up with it, and that will score Susac.
Big 2-out knock right there.
Another one.
And the point being about Pete Rose is he did that. He had that ability, and he didn't have a whole lot of swing at times when he wanted to be compact, just like Joe Panik does here. Rosario is not a great glove at first base. And the Giants take advantage of that right here.
So with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position in this game as a team, the Giants are 5 for 7. 5 for 7.
Well, they brought momentum right back into their dugout with that base hit.
8-4. Pagan takes a strike. Bullpen still quiet for Colorado. Remember, this is just game 1. We've got 2 today. The Rockies tell us that the second game is going to start about 40 minutes after the conclusion of the first game. If this game had been on time, they would have had a more traditional split doubleheader. It's still technically a split doubleheader, but they're not going to take a long while in between games. That one up the middle, on the ground and through. It found a hole. Panik will tear around to third. So Pagan has his first hit, and the Giants are still going here.
Boy, this ballpark like no other. It just seems like that last out of an inning, so hard to find at times. Here, right back up the middle, nice bat control, and an easy first and third with the speed of Panik.
Well, I was going to say there's nobody the Giants would rather have coming up now than this guy, although you could say Crawford, you could say Posey. Giants have a lot of hitters going real well right now, but Bell, even that doesn't tell the whole story. That at bat in the 5th, he smoked one to left against this pitcher. Ball 1.
Good break ball, 1-0. I don't think he was looking breaking ball. And we haven't seen him reach, get off that back leg very often in this hot streak that he's been in. He's really letting the ball get to him.
That one pretty close, but it's ball 2. Belt drives one into the gap in left center field. Another 2-out hit for the Giants, and that one's going to score 2. Panik already in. Here comes Pagan. Brandon Belt does it again. 10-4 Giants. It's getting a little silly.
Well, it's contagious, and that's the confidence that this offense found on the last road trip when they went into Houston and they went into Cincinnati. They got in some smaller yards, more offensive type yards, and guys just started teeing off. And what's impressive about it is what they do with 2 strikes, what they do with 2 outs. I mean, that really is the example of how confident a team is, what they do in those situations. And a lot of opposite field at bats. Going the other way. The last 5 road games, this guy's 14 for 23, 4 home runs, 4 doubles, 11 RBIs, and I mean it is a hard 609.
Back at Lufkin High School in Nacogdoches, hit like that. Here's Pence trying to add on again. And if you're here in this park, just keep adding on. Don't stop.
Oh, against these guys? Better.
2 hits, 2 runs, 2 batted in for Pence. That's strike 1.
Think back to last night. Giants go into the 9th inning. They have an 11-4 lead. And the first guy, 5 guys up in the inning for the Rockies, 5 knocks. They wound up getting 4 runs and 6 hits in the inning. No, you can't trust the Rockies.
Pence, strike 2 swinging. And Bochy did talk a lot this morning about Affeldt and how much he admired Affeldt trying to go back out there after the delay. And he appreciated that. He also said we need to get Jeremy going. He's not pitching well and we need him. Pence strikes out swinging. So not that time, but the Giants, when it looked like they wouldn't get anything out of this inning, get 3 more and they lead 10-4.
Is brought to you by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com and by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Dave Fleming, Mike Krukow here in Denver. We got so much more baseball for you here today. This is just game 1 of a doubleheader. And the Giants offense flexing its muscles once again. Willian Rosario against Heston, bottom of the 6th. 10-4 Giants. If Heston gets the Giants through this inning, Bochy would take it. If he could do 1 more, he would take that.
Oh, if he could give 7, I mean, the pitch count, he's definitely got enough if he can get a quick inning here. 15 pitches or less, he definitely have a chance to go out there in the 7th. But, you know, it's never easy.
The thing you fear most in the first game of doubleheader, particularly in a park like this, is the first game starter getting knocked out early.
You're right.
Rosario to Duffy. Nice high hop. 1 away. I don't think it's particularly easy right now for Brandon Belt over there at first base. It's almost like he's looking right into the sun to take that throw from the left side of the diamond.
That's an excellent point. I mean, he's looking right into the sun when he's taking that throw from Duffy. You can see the shadow behind Brandon Belt. It's looking right into the west. Not comfortable.
No. Bounced in front of home plate to Paulson. Paulson hit a home run his first time up.
The problem with throws from third base right now is if they're high. And you see Rockies have had a technique over the years where you get that sun going right behind the third baseman. They'll throw 1-hoppers to the first baseman.
Paulson into left field, another hit for him. It's a 1-out opposite field single. Well, the turf teams used to use the bounce throw all the time. Not on artificial surface, it can be a little less predictable.
Look at the shadows. I mean,
yeah,
you're taking a throw from your third baseman right now. It is not fun. He's break out a little eye black.
Yeah,
would help.
Hundley hit a home run his last time up. Strike one on the foul.
Get the ball down. That's where he was. And it happens to every young pitcher where he'll get a big lead because you're not used to getting 7 runs if you're a starter. You're just not. And you're happy. But in this ballpark, I mean, or in any ballpark really, you've got to pitch your game like it's 1-0. That's the lesson to be learned. Make your pitches, make your locations, change your speeds, change your movements.
Well, it looks to me like the Giants are going to get the bullpen going now. With 1 out in the 6th. Here's a strike to Hundley.
Good use of that inside corner. Javier Lopez throwing for the Giants down in their bullpen. So he said he was planning on working both ends of the doubleheader today.
He could definitely do that. Hundley, a little foul ball. This was the last at bat for Nick Hundley.
That is a hanging slider.
The worst kind.
Can't get any more hang than that.
Worst kind for a pitcher.
I consider myself a connoisseur of hanging sliders.
You recognize that one right away?
I'm all over that one.
1-2. 2-2.
I gave him 196 home runs, and a lot of them were on hanging sliders. They go a long way.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I saw Matt Harvey on Monday. We were talking to some folks around New York. Harvey got hit hard today. That is ball 3, 3-2. And he's been using his curveball a little more than the slider. And the point was, slider is such a hard pitch. If he made a mistake out over the plate, it was almost like a fastball, just at less velocity. That curveball, much less prone to hanging it and getting it hit real hard. It was interesting. Well, 3-2 here. This is a big pitch to Hundley from Heston. Runner is going, and it's just foul.
Well, the slider, I think, is the hardest on your elbow. Even harder than a curveball, because a curveball, you don't have the arm velocity that you have on a slider. And when you throw the slider, your arm will twist one way and then pronate another way. And the torque on your arm is just extremely hard on the ligaments. For a guy who's had Tommy John, like Harvey's coming back from it, you have to be careful with that pitch. And as good as his is, we've seen that pitch, and I'm thinking nobody has a chance to hit that thing. So maybe the curveball might be an option. They're thinking maybe it protects your arm a little bit more.
Could be. Good point. We'll see if Paulson takes off again. He does. And a ground ball up the middle. That will keep the Rockies out of a double play. Crawford throws out Hundley. Not this time, Nick Hundley.
If you had a kid sign a professional contract out of high school at age 18 who's never thrown a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch, every pitch he's ever thrown was nothing but a fastball. If you're his pitching coach, you say, okay, kid, where do you want your arm to hurt? If you want it to hurt in the elbow, I'll teach you the slider and the curveball. If you want it to hurt in the shoulder, I'll teach you the split and the changeup. Your choice. Tell me what you want. When you're throwing up pitch, I mean, you're going to break down. The easiest pitch on your arm is the fastball.
DJ LeMahieu Runner in scoring position, 2 outs, curveball for a ball. Rockies have brought out Inoa, the switch hitter, on deck. Pitcher spot is due up next. And the Colorado bullpen is working. Scott Oberg out there. That's strike 1. That breaking ball again from Heston. You sort of figure Lopez is getting ready if the inning were to get past the next spot, with Blackmon, left-handed hitter, at the top of the order. Ball 2 below the knees. Rockies had a 1-0 lead in this game into the 4th inning. Giants got 3 in the 4th, 4 more in the 5th, and 3 more in the 6th. To LeMahieu on the ground. Here comes Paulson to score. So the Rockies get one back. It's 10-5.
And the Rockies answer. And this is going to be another motivational speech, and it's going to go like this. It's your last hitter, no matter what. Breaking ball right through the 5.5 hole. And say, well, you got the ground ball and it found a hole, and that is indeed true. But for Dave Righetti right now, you say, look, see that guy out there in the bullpen? He's warming up, and he's thinking about Charlie Blackmon. He's on deck. This is your last guy. This is your last hitter tonight. What do you say you walk off this field, closing it out 6 solid? That's what the skipper wants. Just a little pep talk like that. Hunter Strickland now has up, and he's throwing with Javier Lopez.
Well, when you got that message as a pitcher, did that ever free you up? Did that change your mentality at all?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a challenge. It gets you in that mode where you're thinking about competing, thinking about trying to impress a guy you want to impress, and that's your pitching coach. And a guy who they all respect, like Dave Righetti. I mean, they want to do it for him, and this is an opportunity for Heston to do just that thing.
So here is Rafael Inoa, switch hitter, batting left-handed. Strike 1 from Heston.
And the other thing, too, is Heston knows I don't have to save anything here. I know I'm going to be out of the game. This is going to be his last hitter no matter what. If he gets him out, he's gone. So don't save anything. Get after him.
Inoa to right field. Pence quickly back, and it's off the wall. Coming around third, LeMahieu. Panic won't make the relay throw, and so Inoa doubles. There's a 2-out hit for the Rockies, 10-6. And Bochy will be coming out. Heston just couldn't get him, couldn't finish this inning. Now the Giants are going to make a pitching change going into the bullpen here in the 6th in game 1 of a doubleheader. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts. coming up, brought to you by Provident Credit Union. You can vote at csnbayarea.com/AST. 9th year of the program, recognizing teachers that make a difference. Winner receives $20,000 for his or her school. Well, I know Chris Heston will be disappointed that he couldn't finish this 6th inning. He is out of the game, and Javier Lopez comes on to pitch in place of Heston.
Man, take a look at the numbers for Lopez. It's 21st time he's come in. He's having a very solid first half. No record yet. ERA of 1.69. Just 10 2/3 innings amassed in those 20 appearances, which tells you he's been used a lot situationally. But here, trying to get a big out as this momentum in this game is starting to lean towards the Rockies dugout. Lefties
are 2 for 22 against him. Blackman takes a ball outside. With Arenado on deck, I'm thinking that this is a one-hitter situation for Lopez.
I agree. The way they've got Hunter Strickland lined up.
Blackman, strike one, swinging.
And the fact that Heston went 2 outs in the 6th inning allows Bochy to burn a pitcher after 1 out. And he really needed to do exactly what he did. I mean, he came out 1 out away from giving him the 6 that Bochy asked for. So I believe Bochy is happy with it.
Ball 2. Even after last night, Giants ended up needing 6 pitchers in last night's game, but not a single one of those relievers was overtaxed. So Bochy came today, checked in with everybody, but everybody's good to go. Full complement. That is strike 2. Good pitch. Heston's responsible for Inoa, who's at second. Giants cannot seem to get Inoa out.
No, he's got 5 pinch hits now. I don't know how many are against the Giants, but a bunch of them are.
Feels like 10 of the 5.
It does.
2-2. Blackman on the ground to panic. And once again, Lopez does his job. Kipe will be coming back over to the TV side of things. Heston out of the game. Giants leading 10-6.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. And this has been a wild one. A Coors Field special for the Giants. 10 runs on 13 hits, no errors. The Rockies 6 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. Both starters, Heston and Lyles, out of the game. Crawford has been brilliant. 2 at bats today in 2 strike, 2 out situations. And he has come up for a base hit, a triple. He has 3 RBIs and scored a run. But 3 home runs by the Rockies. And that is our game summary, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Good picture now for the Rockies when it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and brake experts. It's Scott Oberg, the new pitcher now for Colorado. 17th time that he has come in. 2-1 with a 5.40 ERA. 13 strikeouts in 13 innings. He has good stuff. And here again to tell you about it, Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, here's Crawford. Crawford, a nice day, takes wide. He's got 3 RBIs, a single, and a triple. RBI total now over 30. And a call strike. Sounded like a strike, and that evens the count.
Generous strike. Just a little bit off the plate away. Giants gamer babes are here. That's right. They come in all shape, sizes, and ages.
Breaking ball, 1-2.
That's a good curveball right there. You're going to see quality stuff from Oberg. He's got 4 good pitches. Fastball that'll go low to mid-90s. Curveball, slider, changeup. He's a strikeout guy. A lot of people think that he can start.
Crawford probably disappointed there's not somebody at second.
He's not
2
used
outs.
to hitting with nobody on.
Two pitch. Here it is. Stays alive. Rockies. This will not go away. The Giants keep thinking that, well, we're going to get far enough away from them. And they're not.
They refuse to die.
So you just keep pounding away with Duffy to follow. Crawford stays alive.
And they have the one thing that is a huge advantage in this ballpark, and that's the last at bats. And boy, over the years have we seen some amazing comebacks and rallies from these Rockies.
And another 2-2 to Crawford. Crawford bounces it right to Tulowitzki. And Tulowitzki will throw him out. And that'll bring up Duffy. Duffy's got a single and an RBI. He's 1 for 3. Susak. And a breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Fouled out of play. And now it's 0-2. So did I hear this right? They're going to start this game, what, half an hour, 40 minutes?
40 minutes after the last out. As it got past 6:20, I believe. It was going to be an automatic 40 minutes after the last out. So that's like an old-time doubleheader.
1-2.
Oberg, a rookie. 24 years old, from Tewksbury, Massachusetts.
Sharply to LeMahieu. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Susak. Susak doubled and scored in the 6th inning. And here he hits a high fly ball to right. It's in the park to Gonzalez. And that'll end the inning. Arenado, Gonzalez, Tulowitzki coming up. It's 10-6 Giants.
Baseball. At bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and much, much more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or for your tablet.
(10-6) Giants. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
So the Giants welcome back Hunter Strickland, 26-year-old, recalled from Sacramento. He is the 26th man for the day-night doubleheader today. He appeared in 15 games in AAA ball and was 1-1 with a 1.66 ERA. He had 5 saves and 5 save chances, 26 strikeouts at 21 2/3, and just 14 hits allowed. I mean, he was dominant and just absolutely chewing on right-handed hitters, hitting .091 against him.
And throwing him right into the fire here in the 7th. So here's Arenado, way outside for a ball, 1-0.
You're going to see a high velocity fastball, mid to high, hard slider. He's throwing 2 types of fastball now. He's learned the 2-seam fastball, and he also throws a changeup. So he's got a couple new movements that he's worked on, and they've really paid off for him in AAA.
Arenado hits him towards the end of the bat to Pagan. 1 out. Arenado 0 for 4.
In regards
bring up Gonzalez.
In regards to strength and how many pitches Strickland can throw, I mean, he's not a one-inning guy. I mean, he's got 40 pitches in his arm, and if he had a clean 7th, he could pitch an 8th and possibly a 9th.
Here's Gonzalez. He's been on base twice. Both times by way of the walk. He's 0 for 1. And he drives this one to left, but it's right at Blanco. He might start the second game at this rate.
Well, you get a lot of one-pitch outs. They can definitely keep it a ball game a little bit longer. But that is a new pitch. I mean, that's a pitch he didn't have last September. That's a 2-seam fastball. Now, it's not a big deal, but it is in the eye of a left-handed hitter. That movement's running away from him, whereas before, all of his movement used to always run into a lefty.
Here's Tulowitzki, who likes to hit a fastball. He's 1 for 3. Instead, he gets a breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Foul back, 0-2.
97-mile-an-hour fastball. I think he's pumped up to be back in the big leagues.
He's very pumped up.
Well, he went down to AAA and he worked on some things. He saw up here that one movement on a fastball was not enough. One type of breaking ball was not enough. So he learned a changeup. He learned a two-seam fastball.
Way outside.
My grandson, Cohen, styled up with the shades. His dad, my son, Bake. And Selena, his mom. My daughter-in-law enjoyed the game.
Here's the 1-2 to Tulowitzki. Got him. And that'll end the inning. How about that?
7 pitches.
8th inning coming up.
Reaction and analysis, and it's all coming up right after the game.
Well, I've known you a long time. I never thought that would choke you up. It's 10-6 Giants here in the 8th.
I guess so emotional.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that Esurance stuff will do it to you every time.
Yeah.
Here's Joaquin Arias, who came in on the double switch, and he'll take a pitch that looked like a strike.
It's like watching Field of Dreams.
And the 1-0, and Arias bounces this one to Tulowitzki, and Tulowitzki will make the play. And that'll bring up Blanco. Blanco 1 for 4.
He's a Blanco fan.
Have we decided on our in-between meal?
Remember, on doubleheaders, you can eat anything you want. That's our rule.
Here's the pitch to Blanco. So I'm passing Dave in the hallway, right? He's going back to radio.
Yeah.
I figured he might say, "Hey, good job. You know, I get a lot of runs." You know what he says?
What?
I need a pizza. So I know what he wants.
That sounds pretty good.
There's a bouncing ball to Rosario, who's got it. He will spin around and throw to Oberg. Nice play. 2 outs.
That was a nice play.
They have a really good tofu salad that I'm thinking about.
Let's take a look at Wilin Rosario. Playing back the 2-hopper, 360s, and a nice throw perfectly placed above the belt of the chest. And he gets his man. Tofu salad.
Heavy on the tofu, though. A little light on the lettuce.
I don't know.
Here's Panic. Panik takes a called strike. So there's no calories during a rain delay, no calories in between innings, and there's no calories during the wrap.
That's right.
So that's 3 no-calorie free zones. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Super Dog doesn't sound bad.
Double cheeseburger with Cheetos. I'm in.
Line drive, base hit, center field for Panik. He's got 3 hits, and Pagan's going to hit.
Fried cheese curds.
Looked like fried dough, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, I can see
Nacho
that.
Supreme?
No calories in those.
No. Not if you eat them standing up. I may be going the Chub Burger, though. It sounds pretty good.
Cut fries with that?
Shake.
Chub Burger.
Shakes.
I'm not sure you could come up with a better name than that.
No.
Chub Burger. Pagan 1 for 4. What's a crab sandwich from center field at AT&T Park? You
I
take
could
that?
eat 4 of them right now. Don't even say garlic fries. I'll start crying.
Balls in 1 strike. Pagan takes low.
I think one of the big advancements in this game has been what has happened around baseball nutrition. Players' post-game meals now are unbelievable.
Well, I got to tell you something. I walked in the clubhouse kitchen at Giants clubhouse on this past homestand. Pagan takes low. Joe Day, great cook in there, his assistant Matt, and he had at least 50 lobster tails. And I'm thinking, compare that to the leftover weenies we had at Municipal Stadium.
Peanut butter and saltines.
Wow.
That's your middle of the doubleheader spread.
The 2-1 to Pagan, and Pagan takes high and away 3 more.
And now they're getting lobster tails. Well, Joe Day, he's like the greatest of all times, right?
They could have been weenies, but Joe Day can make them look like lobster tails.
See, that's the trick. Not much you can do with peanut butter and saltines, though. That literally was our spread in Pittsburgh between doubleheaders.
Okay.
Dead weenies and peanut butter and saltines.
Pagan shoots this one, and Oberg's got it, and that'll end the inning. Probably would have been fielded by Tulowitzki, but that's no consolation to Pagan. Strickland back out after a 1-2-3, 7th inning.
Well,
Here it'll be Rosario, Paulson, and Hundley.
7 pitches will get you right back on the hill.
Rosario is 0 for 3. Look out. 1 ball and no strikes. It's a slider. One and 0. Comes back with a strike, and he comes back with a fastball to even the count.
Easy 95 there.
Popped them up. Susac maybe. Susac could not hang on, in and out of his glove.
Well, I think it's the toughest play for a catcher because he doesn't have a big glove, and this ball's going away from him. Just on the tip of the web, and he couldn't pull it in.
So it's 1 and 2.
One more look. So close.
Ooh, you just kind of want to cradle it. Foul back.
They just gave Susac an error there.
I'm going to really act like I didn't hear that.
That's ridiculous. Well, Matt Chisholm, who heads our PR department, heading right down there right now to talk with the official score. That I can guarantee.
Into center field, not hit very well, so it's going to fall. So Rosario with a base hit. And that'll bring up Ben Paulson.
Left fielder, number 10, Ben Paulson.
First pitch strike.
The home run that Paulson hit earlier in the game against Chris Heston was a pitch that was middle in, right above the knees. Giants staying away here with a little two-seam movement. That was a perfect pitch from Strickland.
Very close to being another one.
With Strickland, you'll see him throw two-seam fastballs 93 to 95 miles per hour. His higher velocities will be the four-seam fastballs. They'll go anywhere from 95 to 98.
Just outside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Three pitches, 3 two-seam fastballs. So if you have to throw a fastball, you could always come inside with a four-seamer, and it's like a different pitch in the eye of the hitter. Different movement, different velocity.
That's going to be into the seats.
There was that four-seam fastball. But that's so important for a young pitcher to learn, because you get so eaten up with how much velocity you can put on a fastball that you kind of miss the point. And the point is velocity with movement and location. And if you know both seams, both grips of the fastball, they really are two different pitches, like a curveball and a slider are 2 different pitches.
And a bit high, so it's 3-2. Payoff pitch. Got him as Susak hangs on, 1 out. And that'll bring up Hundley.
There's the power challenge. That's when you have a 4-run lead and a good fastball. You say, here, pressure's on you, pal. Second strikeout for Strickland.
Here's Nick Hundley. And the first pitch is wide. 1 ball and no strikes.
Hundley, a good fastball hitter. He likes it up.
Swing. Ain't gonna miss.
Sergio Romo heating up. You're going to see Sergio Romo come to this game if Nick Hundley gets on base.
Swing and a foul held on by Susak again.
And that's cut fastballs, 96 and 97, bang, bang, right in a row. And that's that little subtle movement that runs away from the right-hander. And that's a different type of movement that he has that he uses for the fastball, throwing it to left-handers. Something he did not have the ability to do last September.
And that pitch is high. Low, 3-2. So Strickland's got to come in. Here it comes. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second. Not in time. And Panic. Well, they're going to say Panic missed the tag. So Bruce Bochy said we need to look at it.
Well, we have not seen Joe Panic come up and be as adamant about a missed call. Oh, he got him totally. He got him on the hand. I don't know if Ed Hickox could have seen this, but he hits him on the hand right here. I mean, that's this inning's over.
This may be the shortest replay review in the history of baseball, and this replay review is presented by Xfinity. As I said, got him. The shortest ever. Ninth inning coming up. Giants hanging on. They lead 10-6.
Now for our play of the game, it's brought to you by Honda. We go back to the 5th inning. That was a highlight. One of 2 at bats that Brandon Crawford had with 2 strikes, 2 outs, where he capitalized, knocked the runs in. He wound up getting a couple of knocks in those scenarios, knocking in 3 runs. He is our player of the game as he continues to get hot. It's brought to you by Honda.
When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and repair experts.
Christian Friedrich, the new pitcher now for Colorado. This is what the left-hander has done in 18 games, 0-1 with a 3.60 ERA. And you're going to see a low 90s fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. It comes right over the top of this delivery, so his break on his curveball is 12.6. It's not one you normally see.
So here's Belt. Belt is 2 for 4. And the first pitch is high, 1-0. Pence to follow. Swing, and get a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Fastball, bang, bang, same location.
Throwing him 2 invisible pitches.
It happens. He hasn't been seeing too many of those of late, especially on the road.
Foul.
Not by much.
Fifth pitch coming up to Belt. Here it is. Belt fouls it back. He's had a couple of good rips. Got him. Friedrich wins in the end.
Payoff pitch, a breaking ball.
By the way, that review, Mike, 39 seconds.
Nice. I like those.
Earlier review, 42, Sam, or 92? 42. So that's the record. 39.
Impressive.
Here's Pence. 2 hits today for Pence. And he takes that breaking ball. No swing, 1 ball and no strikes. Crawford to follow. Pence on the ground to Arenado. 2 down here in the 9th. Here's Crawford. Crawford 2 for 4. And he takes a high fastball, 1 ball and no strike.
So Sergio Romo, it's like he's getting ready for the 9th inning.
Hit into right center field. Blackman's got a beat on it, and that's going to end the inning. So Friedrich with a 1-2-3 9th. Bottom of the 9th coming up. 10-6 Giants. Sergio Romo comes into the game.
New pitcher now for the Giants will be Sergio Romo, coming into his 21st game. 0-2 with a 3.21 ERA, 21 strikeouts against 5 walks in 14 innings.
LeMahieu will lead things off. Those are the numbers for Romo. LeMahieu's 2 for 3. Daniel Descalso is on deck. And a first pitch strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, for Romo, I think that's how he likes to start every appearance out of the bullpen, nailing down that slider on the outside corner at the knees. That down and just kind of keep stretching it out away. See if the hitter chases.
Swing and a miss. Came back with a fastball 0-2.
He threw that ball right by him. And again, perfect location.
Fastball high, 1-2. 10 runs, 14 hits, and an error for the Giants. 6 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors for Colorado. Got him.
Ooh, another fastball on the payout pitch. And another perfect location. And Romo opens up the inning with a strikeout. That's 3 strikeouts in a row to Rockies hitters.
So here's Descalso. By the way, I'd like to remind everybody that in between the 2 ball games, you'll have post-game live and pre-game live. And then following all of that, we will have game 2, which will, well, hard to tell when it's going to start, but probably about 40 minutes after the last out.
That's the plan.
Here's Descalso, and he takes just a bit wide. And the 1-0. Descalso cannot hold up on that pitch down and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Descalso coming in just a shade under 200. And a lot of good years for the Cardinals coming off the bench.
He's a good player.
Pops it up. Arias. 2 down. Yeah, they're going to take the air away from Susak.
This is a very difficult play. You can't ring a guy up an error for not making this play. This is beyond what is a normal.
Especially when Walt Weiss telling them that there's a tractor and some bees and everything else over in that area.
Look out for the wheelbarrow.
Slip and slide. Here's Blackman. And Blackman takes that backdoor breaking ball for a strike.
He is throwing darts right now. He's doing it with sliders and fastballs.
Comes back with a high fastball. driven to right, and this is going to be foul. Maybe not home run distance, but anytime you get into that area, 350 gets on you pretty quick.
Well, if you looked at the way that Blackman launched at this thing and then uncoiled after he made contact, you were thinking this had a chance to get the upper deck. I mean, this is the old Yahoo swing. Kind of buggy whipped it above his head.
One and two. And he serves it into left field for a base hit. And that'll bring up Nolan Arenado. Arenado tonight is 0 for 4. On the ground, foul, and it's 0-1. Giants 10, Rockies 6 here in the 9th. And now it's 0-2, and another fastball from Romo.
The beauty of a 4-run lead, he just took advantage of that 4-run lead with that challenge fastball. Had the count 0-1.
Oh, 2 to Nolan Arenado. High and foul and out of play. And another fastball from Romo. Another fastball. Romo's had a good feel for it.
Yeah. There are nights you know you have a good one. There are nights you know you don't have a good one. You know, he obviously feels confident with that pitch. But again, that's how you utilize a 4-run lead. And you put the pressure on the hitter, and he's doing just that.
And that ball now gets away. Susek can't find it. So a wild pitch, putting Blackman now at second.
A little slider that goes down in the dirt. And Susek turns his glove the wrong way. And he's not going to be happy about that. Tried to shortstop the ball.
Base hit.
They just don't go away, do they?
They do not. So Blackman's going to score. Arenado gets his first hitter today. And Chris Bochy's coming out. So we're going to get a new pitcher. It's 10-7. And we'll be back.
There you see the numbers, 4-0 with a 1.47 ERA. He's having a nice first half. 11 saves and 13 opportunities. 17 strikeouts against 7 walks. And for Casilla, you're going to see 2 types of fastball, curveball and cutter, changeup. Last night, Casilla got the save. Clean inning, 15 pitches. Kite said earlier, every one of the bullpenners for Bruce Bochy came in today said we're good to go. See, one of those that made that claim, and here he is.
So here's Gonzalez. Gonzalez 1 for 5 lifetime against Casilla, with Arenado at first, and the first pitch is wide, 1-0. Gonzalez today is 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. And a strike to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Down low, 2 balls and a strike.
He sent that target away, and he kept crossfired it on the inside corner. Wasn't that far off of the strike zone, but the way that Susac had to come across his body to catch that, no way to frame that location and give Dana Dubuque, the plate umpire, a better look. If he was sitting up on the inside corner, he may have gotten it.
Foul back, a rip by Gonzalez. It's 2-2.
Not want to get into a 3-1 situation. He went right at him.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Arenado at first. A run in here in the 9th. Casilla about to throw pitch number 5 to Carlos Gonzalez. And he wraps this one into right field, a base hit. So Hunter Pence kicks it around. Arenado moves to third. And that'll bring up the tying run. And there'd be error on Pence, allowing Arenado to go to third.
Just almost predictable how no matter what type of lead you have against these guys, the Rockies will find a way to come back and at least get the tying run up the plate in the 9th inning.
Tulowitzki is 2 for 6 lifetime against Casilla, and he's 1 for 4 in this game. He wraps this one into left center field for a base hit. Arenado's going to score. Gonzalez moves to third, and it's 10-8.
This is all with 2 outs.
And that'll bring up Willeen Rosario.
Trying to get ahead. I mean, you got to put the pressure on the hitter. Challenge fastball out of the middle of the plate. And Tulowitzki looking for the fastball. Gets it. Giants in doubles defense, playing way back, way deep.
So Rosario, who comes in 1 for 4. Lots of power. You got to be careful.
And you have to pay attention to Tulowitzki at first base.
Barnes is now running at first.
Or Barnes at first base. Good speed.
So here's Rosario. The Giants as deep as you can get in the outfield. First good strike, and it's 0-1.
Not quite as crisp with his fastball command tonight like Casilla was in last night's ball game. He's missed that location several times now. Last night he was painting between the knees with everything.
Taps this one. Arias across the diamond. Got him, and that's the ball game.
Wow.
And Weiss is going to ask the umpires, I'm absolutely sure, to look at it. And why wouldn't you when it's the last out of the ball game? And the Giants are pretty confident that they got the out, and now they're not going to look at it. So, just another laugher here in Denver as you see Belt with those size 19s as he stays on the bag. And the Giants win this one in just another ho-hum game. What do you think, partner?
Just another laugher. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's Coors Field, and a game of persistence and really great 2-strike, 2-out clutch hitting for the Giants as they keep this win streak alive. That's 8 in a row.